Check it out. This is Ford's 1-liter EcoBoost engine. It has 3 cylinders, weighs 215 pounds, and puts out 123 horsepower, which may not sound like a lot, but per liter, compared to a Lamborghini Aventador, it's actually more. And coming up next, we're going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know about the new Ford Fiesta 1-liter that has this engine. This is your baby?
This is, yes.
One of your babies.
One of them.
And one of the things I just learned is that it has more power per liter than a Lamborghini. How the heck did you manage that?
That is exactly right. So the great thing about EcoBoost, the boost piece, is turbocharging. This is the turbocharger. That enables us to put more air in, and that extra air we can burn. So we get that fantastic power density that you're talking about.
Yeah, so anything new about, I mean, turbos have been around a long time, obviously.
Yeah.
And in the past, turbos have been used to gain power, but at the same time, they were thirsty.
Yep.
And they added a lot of stress to the engine, so the longevity of the engine wasn't as great with the turbo. How have you addressed those issues with this engine?
So let me talk about the thirsty piece first. So the other half of EcoBoost is Eco,
right.
And what you get with that is a smaller engine. So the smaller engine, you have less throttling, you have less friction, you have less weight. So all of those things give the Eco part. And the other part of these are they have direct injection.
So that's new.
So that's new, yeah. So typically the historic turbo engines you'd have talked about would not have had that.
The old Saab turbos.
Yeah, exactly. And direct injection, we put the fuel straight into the cylinder. That fuel evaporates, it cools the air. We can use a higher compression ratio, and that gives us a better thermodynamic efficiency.
Now, does this use premium gasoline, or can you run it on?
No, you can run it on either. It's rated on regular gasoline.
And what's the octane when you say regular?
Regular, 87.
So
that people would recognise the standard regular fuel.
So let's talk about the 3 cylinders.
Okay.
Because that's unusual, for America at least. Europeans have had 3 cylinders for a long time, but here in America it's very unusual. And one of the reasons, I guess, is because obviously we've always had big cars, so 3 cylinders weren't powerful enough. The other issue with 3 cylinders is balancing them. How did you solve that problem? So it doesn't shake, it doesn't vibrate the car.
So I think what you are going to see in the industry is a lot more 3 cylinders coming through because of the great fuel efficiency, and now with the EcoBoost technology you can also get the performance. But on the balancing, so typically in a 3-cylinder there is an outer balance which would rock the engine and could go through to the customer. Typically that's counteracted by a balance shaft. We didn't want to put a balance shaft in because that's more weight, it's more friction, it's cost to the customer. So we came up with an innovative solution. We put some outer balance on the front hub here. You can maybe see it here, and also on the flywheel. So we moved that out of balance from the vertical motion to a lateral motion, and the engine mounts are designed to accommodate that lateral movement, which is more difficult to do in the vertical movement. So we saved on cost, saved on weight, better fuel economy, and resolved that, what you would recognise is a historic issue for a 3-cylinder.
And this engine has been in Europe for a while, so talk to me about reliability. What has your experience been with it?
It's been very, very good. It's been in Europe for 2 years now, launched in end of 2011. It's been accepted well. It's in a number of our vehicles over there, very well received, and reliability has been great. As you know, we design all our engines to meet specific customer needs, so we'll work out exactly what the customer's going to do with the engine. We design it, we test it, thousands of hours of testing to sign it off.
So kind of go through give me the top 3 most innovative features on this engine as you see them.
Okay. Well, the balancing I've just described, that was one of the real pieces of innovation from the team. There's another in here, it's called the belt-in oil, which is unusual. Typically you may have a chain or a dry belt sitting outside the engine. This drives the camshafts from the crankshaft. And we've put it inside in the engine, and you get further friction benefits and further fuel reduction. And it's sealed for life, so there's no maintenance required by the customer. None required by the customer. So it's a lifetime durable belt, signed off for all types of oil the customer may use with this engine. Yeah, so that was one of the big breakthroughs. And you probably can't see it, but on the back we've got a...
Let's go around. We'll go around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, you may be able to see it through here. Typically on an engine you have a separate exhaust manifold. This engine has what's called an integrated exhaust manifold. So it's integrated as part of the cylinder head. And the real reason we've done that is we're able to then cool that with the cylinder head cooling. So typically on a gasoline engine, these exhaust parts, which get very hot, have to be cooled, and you have to do that by putting extra fuel in. Clearly that's not fuel efficient for an eco motor, so we've done something completely different. We're able to cool it with the water. We don't have to put that extra fuel in, and it also provides a very short space to get to this turbocharger and really drive it up. So
in America, this engine gets on the highway 45 mpg.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, in Europe, the numbers are different, right? It's how many liters of fuel you use per 100 miles, 100 kilometers.
Yes.
So what's it rated in Europe?
I can't recall that off the top of my head.
I thought it stopped it somehow.
Yeah, it's not a simple transition, because there's a different cycle as well used in Europe.
Okay.
So of which the fuel economy is measured. Thanks for catching me out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just thought our European.
Yeah, I should remember.
Our European viewers would be interested in that number.
Short memory.
It seems like it's a very tall engine, just looking at it. Is that because it's only has 3 cylinders, so it just
I think it's the aspect you're seeing. It's not taller than anything else, and it's obviously designed to package in some of these vehicles that are our smaller end of our vehicle range.
215 horsepower, 215 pounds.
Weight.
How much it weighs.
Yes.
So that seems very light. Are there any exotic materials that you use to bring that weight down?
Not exotic, right. No. It's more attention to detail of the design. No titanium, no. But as you can see, it's very, very compact,
yes.
And that was one of our aims. One of the reasons we actually use iron for the block was to minimise the length, very short spacing between the cylinders, and that of course then reduces weight on the whole engine because of that narrow length.
Here in North America, so far it's only available with a 5-speed automatic. Did you map it so that it works ideally with the 5-speed manual? Sorry, 5-speed manual.
Yeah.
So the power curve kind of matches the number of gears.
It is matched. It's calibrated to support that transmission. As we go forward, we may be looking at some further alternatives coming in the future.
And what's the power curve like? Are you talking about that? Where is most of the torque?
So 90% of the torque is available from 1350 RPM upwards.
And what's the red line?
So the red line is around 6000 RPM.
That's great.
So you've got a lot of torque through the whole width. And we offer a feature called EcoBoost.
Yes, it goes to 11.
Which is 11 on the button, yes. That's right.
How does that work?
So, well, in the higher gears, we're able to transiently, so during acceleration, offer a little bit more boost from the turbocharger, burn a little bit more fuel, but still within the limits, design limits of the engine. So it's just a little bit extra for the customer.
Goes to 11.
11 is there.
And this is such a tiny little turbo. Look at that. I mean, it's amazing how small that is.
Yeah, and obviously this is a small engine.
Yeah. So
this turbocharger was developed specifically to go with this. It's very small, and that's one of the keys to that great driving feel, that this, because it's small, can spin up very, very quickly.
No turbo lag, or very little.
No turbo lag, exactly.
And if I had to ask you, what's your kind of favorite part of the engine? The one part that really stands out, besides the fact that it's relatively unusual as a whole. As an engineer. As an engineer,
That's a great question. I mean, I really like the integrated exhaust manifold, because that's technically a challenging thing to achieve, and it really gives genuine benefit in the end product to the customer. So.
And are there any questions I should have asked I didn't?
No, that's a pretty good list.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
So